They'll say, oh, whatever you do, don't go in the hospital. Stand in the hallway. Don't go in that delivery room.
I know you take good care of Meadow, Paul's daughter.
She takes good care of me. To see her with my children is one of the most beautiful.
This is Vin Diesel. Most people know him as Dominic Toretto, but to Meadow Walker, he represents something far deeper. Over the years, rumors have exploded online. Some claim Vin stepped into Paul Walker's place. Others whisper about secrets that go far beyond family. Their quiet bond has fueled endless speculation. Are they hiding something from the world, or has the truth simply been misunderstood all along? Now, after years of silence, Paul Walker's daughter has finally given people a clearer look. Not through words, but through actions. This is the story behind an unbreakable bond. Long before anyone realized it, Meadow Walker was already connected to the Fast and Furious family. She was born on November 4th, 1998 in Los Angeles, California. She was the only child of actor Paul Walker and Rebecca Soteros. Instead of growing up in Hollywood's spotlight, Meadow spent her early years far away from fame. She was raised in Hawaii by her mother, who wanted her life to stay private and peaceful. There were no red carpets or flashing cameras, just ocean waves, open skies, and the calm rhythm of island life. Hawaii shaped her childhood. Nature became her playground, and freedom became her normal. But as she grew older, something was missing. Meadow wanted more time with her dad. In 2011, at just 13 years old, she made a life-changing decision. She packed her bags and moved to California to live with Paul. This was not just a new home, it was a whole new world. Paul Walker was already a global star, best known for his role in the Fast and Furious movies. By moving in with him, Meadow found herself surrounded by movie sets, cameras, and familiar faces. By the time she could truly understand what was happening, she was already part of the Fast family. The first Fast and Furious movie came out when she was only 1 year old. As the franchise grew, so did her connection to the cast. Vin Diesel, Jordana Brewster, Michelle Rodriguez. They weren't just co-workers to her father. They felt like extended family. Years later, Meadow reflected on that time, saying she grew up watching her dad and the cast on set, seeing them through monitors like they were part of everyday life. To Paul, though, Meadow was everything. She changed him, she softened him, she gave his life new meaning. He often spoke about how being her father mattered more than any movie role. Even as his fame reached new heights, he craved quiet moments with her, away from Hollywood, away from the noise. Then, in November 2013, everything changed. Paul Walker died in a tragic car accident. Meadow was only 15 years old. She had just begun to truly reconnect with her father. The loss was overwhelming. For a long time, she was in shock. Her mother and family rushed to California to support her through the heartbreak, but they weren't the only ones who showed up. Vin Diesel shared a heartfelt message, sending love, strength, and faith to the Walker family. Jordana Brewster stayed close, posting memories and reminders that Meadow was not alone. Michelle Rodriguez also reached out with love and support. Yet, one person stood firmly by her side in a way that changed everything. Vin Diesel. Paul and Vin were more than co-stars. They were brothers. Their bond was built on loyalty, trust, and respect. That trust mattered so much that Paul chose Vin to be Meadow's godfather. It was not a casual decision. It was made with total confidence. After Paul's passing, Vin didn't just speak kind words, he acted on them. He once admitted that his protectiveness over Meadow went far beyond the movies, and he proved it again and again. One moment in particular touched the world. In October 2021, Meadow married actor Louis Thornton Allen. As she walked down the aisle, Vin Diesel was there, not as a movie star, but as family. He walked her down the aisle in Paul's place. that wasn't the only sign of how deep their bond ran. Meadow chose Vin's eldest daughter as her maid of honor. That single choice spoke louder than any interview ever could. This wasn't about rumors, it wasn't about replacing anyone. It was about love, loyalty, and family built through loss. Meadow has never hidden how much the Fast and Furious family means to her. For her, they are not characters on a screen. They are real people who stood by her when her world fell apart. Vin stepped up because of Paul, because of the life he lived, and because of the promise he silently kept. Before Paul Walker became a global superstar, his story started much earlier. He was born on September 12, 1973, in Glendale, California. Competition and athleticism ran deep in his family. His father was an accomplished amateur boxer and a two-time Golden Gloves winner. His grandfather also boxed and loved racing. Even before he knew it, his future was already taking shape. Unlike most children, Paul was in front of a camera before he could fully walk. At just 2 years old, he appeared in a Pampers commercial. By the early 1980s, he was already working steadily in television and commercials. As a teenager, he had built a solid name for himself in the industry. In 1993, he joined The Young and the Restless, playing Brandon Collins. His performance earned recognition and award nominations. After years of television work, Paul shifted his focus to film. The early roles weren't glamorous. Low-budget movies and strange scripts filled his resume. But his talent was impossible to ignore. By the late 1990s, bigger roles started coming. Then, in 2001, everything changed. Paul Walker became Brian O'Connor in The Fast and the Furious. Starring alongside Vin Diesel, the film shocked everyone by becoming a massive hit. Overnight, Paul became a household name, the franchise exploded, and a brotherhood was born. That brotherhood didn't end with the cameras. It lived on through loyalty, love, and promises kept. And today, through Meadow Walker, that bond still remains unbroken. For a while, Paul stepped away from the franchise, and fans started asking questions. Was he finished with Fast and Furious for good? Then came 2009, and everything changed. Paul returned in Fast and Furious, and the comeback felt electric. From that moment on, he wasn't just part of the series again, he was at the heart of it. Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6 followed, and both films exploded at the box office, proving the franchise was stronger than ever. But movies were only one side of Paul Walker's life. Off-screen, he was driven, curious, and always building something new. In 2012, he launched his own production company, Laguna Ridge Pictures, which later secured a deal with Universal Pictures. That move showed Paul wasn't just thinking about acting, he was thinking long-term. His love for cars also went far deeper than Hollywood scenes. Racing wasn't an act for him, speed was personal. Paul competed in the Redline Time Attack series, driving a BMW E92 M3 for the AE Performance team. He also owned a high-performance car shop called Always Evolving and kept a private collection of over 30 cars. For Paul, cars weren't props, they were a lifestyle. That same passion carried into how he helped others. In 2010, after a devastating earthquake hit Haiti, Paul didn't just donate money and move on. He founded Reach Out Worldwide, a disaster relief organization focused on real action and fast response. Helping people became just as important to him as racing ever was. So how did Paul grow so close to Vin Diesel? To understand that bond, you have to look at where Vin came from. Vin Diesel's life didn't begin with fame or easy chances. Born July 18, 1967 in Alameda County, California, he entered the world as Mark Sinclair. He was raised in New York City with his fraternal twin brother, far away from Hollywood dreams. Nothing was handed to him. His first step into acting happened by accident. At just 7 years old, Vin and his friends broke into a theater in Greenwich Village, planning to cause trouble. Instead of calling the police, the theater director made him an offer. Join the next stage production and there would be no punishment. That moment didn't just save him from trouble, it changed his life. As he grew older, Vin worked tough jobs to survive, including as a nightclub bouncer. During that time, he built the strong presence the world would later recognize. He took the name Vin Diesel from his stepfather's surname and a nickname given to him for his non-stop energy. Hollywood, however, wasn't welcoming. Casting directors didn't know where to place him. He was labeled too ambiguous and passed over again and again. So, Vin stopped waiting for permission. In the mid-1990s, he wrote, directed, produced, and starred in a short film called Multifacial. It followed a mixed-race actor struggling to fit into an industry obsessed with labels. Shot on a tiny budget in just a few days, the film caught Hollywood's attention. Soon after, roles followed. Boiler Room came next, then Pitch Black. That film introduced audiences to Riddick, a dark and mysterious anti-hero who stood out from anything action fans had seen before. Vin Diesel was officially on the rise. Then came 2001. Vin stepped into the role of Dominic Toretto in The Fast and the Furious, starring alongside Paul Walker. The chemistry was instant. Fast cars, underground racing, and raw emotion turned the film into a massive hit. Vin had found his signature role. Still, he shocked fans by skipping the sequel. Many believed he had walked away forever. But in 2009, Vin returned, reigniting the franchise and transforming it into a global powerhouse. Over the next decade, films like Fast 5, Furious 7, and Fast X pushed the series to record-breaking heights. Despite his larger-than-life image, Vin stayed private. Since 2007, he has been with model Paloma Jimenez, and together they have 3 children. His youngest daughter was named Pauline, a quiet tribute to his late friend Paul Walker. That tribute speaks volumes about their bond. When Vin Diesel and Paul Walker met on the set of the first Fast and the Furious, no one imagined what would follow. What began as work quickly became brotherhood. They shared a deep love for cars, adventure, and even gaming. Vin once revealed they secretly played World of Warcraft together, teaming up without revealing who they really were. Paul was also there for Vin during personal struggles. He offered advice, support, and even helped mediate family matters. Vin had a special name for him, Pablo, a sign of how close they truly were. Then came the loss that shook the world. Paul Walker died in a tragic car accident at just 40 years old. Fans were heartbroken, but for Vin, it was like losing family. The pain was overwhelming, yet Vin chose to honor Paul instead of hiding from the grief. At the 2015 MTV Movie Awards, Vin stood before the crowd and delivered an emotional tribute that left the room silent. From that day on, Vin never stopped honoring Paul. Birthdays, anniversaries, and milestones never passed without a message, a memory, or a photo. On what would have been Paul's 50th birthday, Vin wrote, "The tears never go away, but they change. We only hope to make you proud." That love didn't stop with words. At the premiere of F9, Vin brought Paul's daughter Meadow on stage and told the world, "Family never dies." After Paul's passing, Vin's relationship with Meadow naturally deepened. He never tried to replace her father. No one could. Instead, he became a steady presence, a protector, someone Paul would have trusted completely. Vin called her family, referred to himself as Uncle Vin, and made sure she was never alone. Over the years, fans caught small glimpses of that bond through social media. Birthday messages, family gatherings, quiet celebrations. But the strongest moments were never posted. Meadow became part of Vin's household, welcomed fully by his children, connected by something deeper than blood. Vin also made sure Meadow knew her father's story. He kept Paul's legacy alive, sharing memories and moments that only family could pass down. Still, both Vin and Meadow chose privacy. What they share is real and they protect it. Vin has spoken softly about receiving messages from Meadow on Father's Day, small reminders of the bond they share. Not as replacement and child, but as family connected by love, loyalty, and loss. In the end, both Vin Diesel and Meadow Walker found their own ways to honor Paul, one through memory, the other through life, and together they proved that some bonds don't end, they evolve, they endure, and they move forward, carrying the ones we love with us forever. Just 2 years after losing her father, Meadow Walker chose to honor Paul Walker in a way that truly reflected who he was. Instead of letting grief define her, she transformed it into purpose. On September 12, 2015, a day that would have marked Paul's 42nd birthday, Meadow launched the Paul Walker Foundation. She was only 16 years old, but her vision was clear. In her own words, Meadow explained that when she thought about her father, she kept coming back to what he loved most: the ocean, marine life, protecting the planet. She created the foundation to share that side of Paul with the world. Today, the foundation supports students and researchers in marine science, provides scholarships, and funds environmental projects. Every initiative carries forward Paul's deep commitment to conservation, a cause that was not just important to him, but central to the legacy he wanted to leave behind. The Fast and Furious family quickly rallied behind Meadow's mission. Vin Diesel became one of the foundation's strongest supporters, consistently showing up, speaking out, and using his platform to amplify its message. Other cast members, including Jordana Brewster and Tyrese Gibson, also voiced their support. Together, they made one thing clear: Paul's impact reached far beyond the movie screen. Paul Walker may have been a cornerstone of the Fast and Furious franchise, but even after his passing, the films made sure he was never truly gone. The most emotional tribute came in Furious 7. When Paul passed away, the film was nearly finished. Instead of abruptly removing his character, the filmmakers crafted a farewell that would stay with audiences forever. The final scene, set to See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth, showed Brian O'Connor driving into the sunset. It was a quiet, powerful goodbye that honored Paul's journey. And the tributes didn't stop there. In every film since, subtle nods have kept Brian's presence alive. In The Fate of the Furious, he is mentioned as someone still out there, living peacefully with his family. In F9, a blue Nissan Skyline GTR, Brian's signature car, appears in the final moments. These small details remind fans that both the character and the man behind him are never forgotten. Long before his fame, Paul Walker was deeply committed to helping others. He founded Reach Out Worldwide, a nonprofit focused on providing hands-on disaster relief. Whether responding to earthquakes, hurricanes, or other crises, the organization prioritized immediate practical support. After Paul's passing, Meadow and Vin Diesel made it their mission to continue this work. When a devastating earthquake struck Nepal in 2015, Reach Out Worldwide was among the first organizations on the ground, delivering aid where it was needed most. Meadow has remained actively involved, ensuring her father's humanitarian spirit lives on. Vin Diesel has never missed an opportunity to remind the world of the causes Paul cared about. Through charity events, interviews, and quiet efforts behind the scenes, he continues to help Paul's legacy thrive. In May 2023, when Fast X hit theaters, sharp-eyed fans noticed a familiar name in the credits. Meadow Walker made a brief cameo as a flight attendant in a scene alongside John Cena's character. For Meadow, stepping into the world her father loved was deeply emotional. She was careful not to make the moment feel forced or distracting. Instead, she wanted it to be subtle, a respectful nod to the man who had always called the Fast and Furious cast his second family. The role was small, but its meaning was enormous. Vin Diesel later admitted that seeing Meadow on set moved him deeply. To him, it felt like a bridge between the past and the present. Although it was her first time on a major movie set, Meadow was surrounded by warmth and support. John Cena made sure she felt comfortable throughout the scene, and the welcoming energy of the cast quickly eased her nerves. Behind the cameras, the franchise's message of family proved to be just as real as it appears on screen. Once fans realized who the flight attendant really was, the reaction was immediate. Social media filled with emotional responses, many saying the same thing: Paul would be proud. For longtime followers of the franchise, Meadow's appearance, even for a brief moment, felt incredibly meaningful. Her cameo was not accidental. Several people close to Paul, including producer Brandon Bertel, helped make it happen. Vin Diesel, as always, was one of Meadow's biggest supporters, ensuring the moment was handled with care and respect. Still, not everyone saw it the same way. A vocal minority questioned Meadow's appearance, accusing it of being more about publicity than tribute. Claims of nepotism quickly spread online, fueling debates and speculation. Was this really about honoring Paul, or was Hollywood leaning into sentiment? Those who knew the truth were quick to respond. Meadow has spoken openly about how personal the experience was for her. It was never about attention or headlines. It was about keeping her father's spirit alive in a franchise that meant everything to him. Over the years, Meadow has also faced persistent rumors, some of them wildly inaccurate. One of the most common myths claimed that Vin Diesel had legally adopted her after Paul's passing. Social media ran with the story, but the truth was much simpler. Meadow remained with her biological family. What Vin offered was not legal guardianship, but loyalty, protection, and a promise to Paul that he would always look out for her. Other rumors went even further, twisting their bond into something inappropriate. These claims were baseless and false, but they revealed an unfortunate reality. When you live in the public eye, even the purest relationships can become targets for speculation. Meadow and Vin chose not to engage with the noise. Instead, they let their actions speak for themselves. Being the daughter of a beloved public figure comes with admiration and relentless scrutiny. Meadow has learned to navigate both. Rather than feeding negativity, she focuses on what truly matters. Through philanthropy, quiet tributes, and carefully chosen moments, she keeps her father's legacy at the center of her story. Vin Diesel has done the same. Every tribute, every post, and every public statement reinforces that what they share is real. It is not a storyline. It is family. As fans continue to speculate about Meadow's future, one question keeps coming up. Was her Fast X cameo just the beginning? Will she take a larger role in the franchise? For now, there is no confirmation. What is clear is that her bond with Vin is exactly what it appears to be, a connection built on love, respect, and shared loss. In the end, Paul Walker's legacy lives on, not just through films, but through actions, values, and the people who carry his name forward. And as long as that legacy is honored with heart and purpose, his presence will never fade.